Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I am, of course, your host, Armando Venditti, and in this episode, I'm going to be doing another installment of Stand or Fall. Now, I started this yesterday. Stand or Fall is an idea that I came up with a couple of days back, and I want to be talking about bands who, well ensconced in their career, that had come up with a side project and maybe have released maybe one or two albums under that name. And I want to discuss whether or not said project either has stood the test of time from when it was released, or did it fall off a cliff and meet its untimely death. Hence the name Stand or Fall. And in catchy title, isn't it? In this installment of Stand or Fall, I'm going to be talking about a band who did a side project I would say at the behest of their longtime collaborator producer Brian Eno. Um, the band is U2, and the side project went under the moniker Passengers. The album that was released in 1995 through Island Records was called Original Soundtracks 1. Now, just a bit of a background. U2, around 1988, after releasing Rattle and Hum, were at a bit of a crossroads, a major crossroads, I should say, and they were basically on the brink of becoming, for lack of a better term, dinosaurs in terms of their fan base and their creative output, or they could have turned a corner, rebrand. I'm not going to say rebrand, but recreated their musical output and come up with fresh ideas, which is exactly what they did. In 1991, they released Achtung Baby through Island Universal, and in 1991, I believe it was November of 1991, I remember because I got a free copy of it from a friend of mine that worked at A&M Records. And that album reestablished them on the music scene with songs like The Fly and Mysterious Ways and Even Better Than the Real Thing, but also with tracks like Zoo Station, which reminded me of Bowie, a la Heroes. And uh, as many of you probably do know, Brian Eno did work with David Bowie in the writing of and performing of the album Heroes and recording it. They went on this massive tour, and in 1991-92, and they also during the tour recorded Zooropa, which was also almost looked at a baby, sort of like Octung Baby Junior. Sorry, only 2 coffees today, and I'm still screwing up. Anyways, at the end of the tour, of the Zoo TV tour, because that was the second part of the tour. The tour went on for something like 18 months, something ridiculous like that. At the end of the tour, they decided to take a break from recording under the U2 name. They came up with this idea again at the encouragement and behest of Brian Eno. They came up with this idea to come up with some tracks that were supposed to be music from fictitious movies. And the basis of the album was more avant-garde, ambient, instrumental type of loosely, not so much song-based ideas with verse, chorus, verse, bridge, and fade out or cold stop, was more of the music that was produced was more ambient, more keyboard oriented techno, very trippy, or trip hop is what it was going to be called. And the big single from the album was Miss Sarajevo, which featured Lucian Pavarotti on co-lead vocals. There are other tracks like oh my god, I even forget the names of them. Good lord, just there was 14 tracks overall, and they ranged in length from like 5 minutes to like a minute and 30 seconds. A song titles like Corpse. I'm even having trouble remembering the names of the tracks. It was released under the name Passengers. It went basically unnoticed by U2 fans at large, and also the music critics. They dismissed it as self-indulgent, self-important, like in terms of just, they were confused. Like they were basically saying, what were U2 trying to say during this time? Like, were they trying to make this important musical statement, or were they just basically pleasing themselves and forget about what the audience thinks or what the critics think and just do what they wanted to do, which is all well and good. I mean, an artist should be able to do whatever the hell they want to do. But overall, was it fair for U2 to believe or think that the staunch U2 fans, the staunch fan base, was it fair for them to think that the fan base was going to go along with them on this project or in this idea? I recently picked up the album off of Amazon for like $5.99. I've listened to it, and in the case of does it stand the test? Excuse me. Does it stand the test of time, or has it fallen off a cliff and died an untimely death? It dove off the cliff. I'm sorry. With the exception of Miss Sarajevo, there was like 13 other tracks, depending on which copy you get, because there's also a version of it with 14 tracks with a Zoo. I even forget the name of that track, and it's a Zoo TV remix. The other tracks just don't stand up in terms of even to listen to ambient music. The soundscapes that they use and the keyboard textures that they use are not memorable. On one track they used Howie B, who was a hip hop trip hop artist at the time, production, and he also did some recording. They used him to have a more of an updated sound or an updated type of music. It really doesn't work. It doesn't stand as a project. And it's got to be said, it's the poorest selling album in the U2 catalog, and it's still considered a U2 album. And Larry Mullen Jr., drummer for the band, has said at the time when it was released that he really did not like the project at all. Even today, like recently, he has said that it still hasn't grown on him as a project, but that Miss Sarajevo is a classic. And Bono has said that he dismisses Larry Mullen Jr.'s comments, in that the only reason why Mullen is saying that is because they didn't let him play enough drums on the album. So, in my very humble opinion, this project Passengers, original soundtracks 1, has fallen off the cliff and has died an untimely death. U2 afterwards came back in 1997 with Pop, which I have said in other situations, I have said that to me, U2's 1997 Pop is sort of their version of Queen's Hot Space, because it's a more dance-oriented album, more trip-hop, using drum loops and samples, etc. It took them a while to get off that train, and I'm glad that they did before the train crashed right into a wall. And it almost did. So again, that is my opinion on Passengers Soundtracks 1. Please, down there below, leave your comments. Do you like Passengers Soundtracks 1? Do you think it's a valid musical statement? Do you think it has any type of musical merit? Or do you feel, has it stood the test of time, I should say, or do you feel that it has fallen off the cliff and died an untimely death? Please let me know. And again, hit like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content that I've got coming up. This Friday, I will be recording a new segment of Misguided or Misunderstood with Ryan Gavalier, and we're going to be tackling Yes, Big Generator. I'm also going to be doing a couple of more shows, at least 2 more shows with Bill Schuster. We're going to be tackling the catalog of Canadian rock legends, at least in Canada, Chilliwack, and we're going to be tackling the catalog of Rush and also Black Sabbath. We also discussed talking about Joe Jackson, doing the catalog of Joe Jackson, ranking the albums. So that's all coming up. So hopefully you guys having a great day. You're looking after yourselves and one another, and you're staying safe. Please have a good day. And again, look after one another and each other. And I will see you very soon. Bye for now.